Well, let's get to the details now. There have been calls for government to investigate a Bank of Ghana contract for an interoperability platform awarded to Sifton Switch Systems, the highest bidder. The interoperability platform is to, among other functions, ease mobile money transactions across telecommunication operators. But some news editors who spoke on the matter on Editors Forum and Joy News argue that it does not make business sense for the Bank of Ghana to choose a highest bidder with no known experience. Neither does it make any sense to award a contract which they believe the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System could be resourced to execute. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has been talking about this issue, but here is a conversation that the editors had on Editors Forum earlier.
You are asking for tender. You put out your specifications as to what you want to build, okay? You put out specifications as to what you want to build.
Okay.
And 3 companies have put in bid that we can do what you want us to do, because we have seen all the specifications.
Right.
One says, I'll do it at the cost of a little over $5 million. Another says, I can do the same thing at the cost of a little over $40 million. And somebody says, I can do the same thing for you at the cost of over $1 billion. Then you ask yourself, how did the Bank of Ghana settle on the one who is charging over $1 billion?
How?
As against companies that say we can do it less than $50 million.
Have we got any answers?
I cannot understand it, because even before you put up a bid, okay, you would have done your homework to find out if somebody wants to build this facility, okay, that will work in other jurisdictions. What is the normal cost of building such a switch? You, the entity offering the tender, you have an idea of how much the thing should cost. So on what grounds the Bank of Ghana go all the way to the level of choosing over $1 billion contract as against people who say they can do the same thing? Okay? And let's ask, what even is the track record of the company that the Bank of Ghana has chosen compared to the companies that they did not choose? Which of them have a track record? It's on record that this Sifton Switch company was founded just in August 2015. But the other 2 companies, there's record to show that they have even been in the business longer than the company chosen by Bank of Ghana. So this particular issue, and up to now, Bank of Ghana has not come out to explain on what grounds.
Have you, as a media house, reached out to Bank of Ghana for explanations on what you have tried? Okay.
Why they are not able to come and explain why they choose $1 billion?
CCS Perspective. How much have you followed this story, and what's the information you're gathering?
You know, the breakfast show crew, Bernard Avler, Richie Sky, and Kojo Boateng took this issue up when it first came up, and so we're able to get in touch with the so-called people who have been awarded the contract, and they term it something called build, operate, and own contract of a sort. Now, interoperability, they explained to me that they are not only dealing with the telcos, but they are also dealing with all the other networks that you see. So you see, when you go to you are using eSwitch, when you go to your ATMs and all those things. So what is going to happen is that all these things will route through them and all that. But the point is that, you see, we were able to get to them and ask them through courtesy Bernard Avler and co. That what at all do you mean by this big English called interoperability and all these things that would warrant that the nation or that warrants that the nation
pays you that amount
about that kind of money.
4 billion.
Now let me quote what their manager Kaiko Watanabe told us. He said it's a long-term infrastructure. It's a retail payment system that does not just cover one party, which will be interoperability, but for mobile network operators. It cuts across the entire retail payment system. It comes with NMOs, banks, aggregators, merchants, among others. Does Bank of Ghana need all this? You know why the telcos were the first to come out with this? Because they were mandated, or they were asked to ensure that they get such a platform. So as we speak now, they've invested monies to ensure
getting that kind of platform.
That kind of
where people can send money from, say, Tigo to MTN, from MTN to
when you
Vodafone,
are
etc.
dealing with all the other people, it shouldn't affect them because they were asked to do that. Now, as a nation, where are our priorities? You want to invest in something. And I know in all this discussion, I'm just adding on to what, because he's explaining perfectly what is done. Right. In fact, this issue irked so much the breakfast show, the city breakfast show, to the extent that they are planning on doing that. Because really, you can look at the companies. You have Vals Intel Limited and American Solutions Limited, which quoted very 14 million and then 5 million respectively. Now you can argue that, okay, we are looking at all these networks, so Bank of Ghana to speak and then tell us and then explain to us what constitutes the award. And so therefore we found out that 14 billion was well, because, well, really, somebody can argue that you want to provide water for, let's say, a facility, and then we are asked to bring bids, and then I bring a bid of 2 cedis, which means that I'm just bringing a bottle of water. So
maybe it's substandard.
Yeah, but the point is that, do we really need that? And that is what must be investigated. In all this, somebody will be talking about judgment debt. That is, if we cancel the contract.
Because they've already been given the contract,
Hold on,
right?
I'm coming to that. So if we cancel the contract, are we prepared to pay over $1 billion for something that we are already doing and doing well, than paying somebody a debt to say that I've cancelled the contract? As a nation, we must decide. If you ask me, I think cancel it and pay you, because when we cancel, we are not going to pay $1 billion.
And you see, the Bank of Ghana decision is very strange, because this interoperability in the financial sector is the reason why the Bank of Ghana is set up is GIPS. Ghana Interbank Payment System.
So why do you have GIPS?
And they are already doing it. So this particular system
is doing it.
GIPS is the Ghana Interbank.
Could just been asked to build additional capacity to be able to
go through that thing.
You understand it? So if you have your own institution GIPS sitting there, which the idea is they start from the banks and grow to take over all the entire financial system interoperability, and you overlook GIPS and go and give a contract to a private firm at this cost, it is questionable. 2, it is like this country has become a country who want to say there's so much money in the telco sector, so let's go and get some out of it. And they are bringing on board a lot of intermediaries.
And at the end of the day, after they have built this infrastructure,
all these things, the
consumer is going to pay.
They will pass it on you, and you will pass it on to us.
Okay.
Because there's no teleco who will say he's supposed to pay this money to Sifting Switch, who will say, I'm going to pay for my profit. It will never happen.
They will put
your cost will go up. Your data you use will go up. Everything you use is going to go up. Mobile money that they say they are building this for. Right now, if you compare the cost of mobile money, even to banking transactions, if not that the banks frustrate you when you go to banking, or you will not use mobile money. Because when you transfer 1,000 Ghana cedis, you are paying
10% of it.
And the 10 cedis, 100 cedis you send, somebody else who is going to collect the money also is made to pay money again before he takes it. So if you compare that, you go to a bank and
you just do the transaction. It's less than that.
But it's because of frustration at the banking halls. That's why it's like the country is, everybody is running towards mobile money. But if you sit down critically, the cost of mobile money far outweighs going to the bank to do service.
Okay.
By some point, the banks can't offer the service that these were offering because they are refusing to be creative and customer-centered.
Okay. How do we carry this story forward and ensure that the people of Ghana have value for money?
It is such an important story that all of us as media should continue to ask questions. Why will government or Ghana lose $1 billion to a private firm over something that can be done at the cost of, let's say, $15 million?
Okay.
Or can even be done by GIFs, which is Bank of Ghana institution, a state-owned institution said the Bank of Ghana, which could have done it even maybe far less. And that is why GIFs was set up. So as to why Bank of Ghana will bypass GIFs and want a private firm to do it,
which was just set up,
must be answered. And as to why Bank of Ghana want to choose over $1 billion. We want to IMF to take $918 million for 3 years. And Bank of Ghana is given a contract that will take money from the system worth over.
Those are editors from the Finder newspaper and CTFM talking on Joy News' Editors Forum, where we bring you objective analysis of the issues there yesterday. Well, the Bank of Ghana has responded to the issue. They say that due diligence was observed in the award of the contract, even though they admit no knowledge of the owners of the sitting switch systems. And we've been trying to reach the head of communications, Bernard Otobel, who spoke earlier to my colleague Kojo Yankson on the matter, but we've been unsuccessful at the moment. Meanwhile, we've been making efforts also to speak to the Chamber of Telecommunications. They are not available for comments at the moment. We understand that there are plans are underway for a meeting between the telcos and the Bank of Ghana on the matter, after which they will perhaps be available for comments on the matter. We cannot move on now and speak to some other issues. Now, there are more protests being recorded as more NPP party faithful continue to reject MMDCEs appointed by the party as it tries to build the local governance structure to help the president deliver on his promises. Several cases have been reported in the past few days in Accra and other parts of the country. Today was the turn of Tema East, where a section of the constituency leadership is blaming the regional chairman of the party, Ishmael Ashite, of imposing what they call his own brother, Ben Ashite, as the MCE of the municipality. My colleague Kwame Yanka was at the press conference held by the Tema East constituency executive, led by the chairman, Nene Ofuete. He joins me now on the line. Hello, Kwame.
Hello.
Now, Kwame, tell us what this accusation really is all about and what happened today.
Well, the leadership of the party for this press conference today was attended by about 10 of the executives. 16 executives make up the Tema East leadership, but about 10 of them were available and in support of this accusation, because they believe the party would need someone who has committed himself to support of the party, very hard-working and loyal member, of course. But Ben Ashite, who is a relative to the Greater Accra Regional chairman of the party, Ishmael Ashite, his loyalty and commitment, according to the leadership of the party, is quite questionable. And they will need someone who would help the party carry out its developmental project in Tema, as it were, as an MC to be appointed.
But what evidence do they have to prove that the two persons that they're speaking of are related?
Come again?
What evidence? Did they present any evidence to prove that the two gentlemen in question are related?
Oh, yes. This issue started way back in 2015 during their primaries, where the Ben Ashite, who contested Titus Global at the time, had the support of his relative Ishmael Ashite in this question, to be pushed through, but Titus Global managed to beat him with some few votes to stand on the ticket of the MPP for the 2016 election, where he eventually won. So he's had some issues with the executive right from the party's primary up to date, and they believe that, well, his utterances after losing to Titus Global and then even towards the 2016 elections put him in a position that he does not qualify or is incapable to be able to occupy this post as an MC, and they would want the leadership of the party, national, to attend to this with the urgency that it deserves before it affects the fortunes of the party in the coming years. So
today, they started a protest, sort of, at the Tema East constituency.
Come again.
So I'm trying to get you to paint for us a picture of exactly what they did today.
Okay, today it was a press conference. They were clad in red, some with their T-shirts, others with the red bands, and then some chanting that, well, they will not allow this to be able to go on. Yes, even if it's a brother and capable to be able to undertake certain functions within the as an MC, they don't have any problem with that. But right from the primaries, like I stated earlier, to date, we've had some issues with this candidate in question, and then they believe he's not in the best position to rise up to the role of an MC.
Okay, so we'll say a very big thank you to you, Kwame Yanka. Kwame Yanka is my colleague in Tema. They're bringing us up to speed on what's happening there. Just like we said, there have been similar cases across the country where people are not entirely happy with it. The NPP has been speaking. Well, Nene Ofuete, who addressed that press conference today, has joined us on the telephone lines now. Let's ask of him exactly what their issues are. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse.
Yes. Hello, yes. My name is Ofoite.
Ofoite, thank you very much for the correction.
Yes. I'm the constituency chairman for MPP Tema East. Yes. You know, this morning we had a press conference at the Air Paso. Basically, it was about imposition of MC candidate by Honorable Ishmael Ashiti, the regional chairman. We have a wind of a letter being purported to be sent to the Jubilee House. We made frantic efforts and we saw that it wasn't true. Nobody signed anything from the traditional area. But Honorable Ishmael Ashite wants to impose his nephew onto us. During the election,
let me just ask you this quickly. If you say he's imposing his nephew on you, how sure are you that they are related? Because the fact that they perhaps bear the same name does not necessarily mean that they're related. We're in Ghana, you know, and names, people have similar names.
Exactly. I went to my honorable regional chairman's president, and I had a few discussions with him that we are hearing that he wants to impose the one Ben Ashiti. He told me frankly that over his dead body, the boy will still be the MP. Nobody can change that perception. He told me that over his body. So this indicates that the imposition has been planned for. Because if he can tell me over his dead body, the boy or the gentleman will be MP, then which is in the position is imposing somebody for us. But hello, you know, during the election, we are saying that we want somebody who is very, very loyal, who is very, very committed to the cause of the party.
And who are you looking at? If you think that this gentleman,
let me quickly give you the background.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, we want somebody who is very loyal, committed to the cause. During our election, the Ben actually went ahead and was saying that they should vote a second ballot. He was saying that Titus Glover is for one term. Telling us that, which means if people hear that you are telling us that Titus Glover is one term, which means you want to weaken the vote that even now the Accompli will have. And also, they have formed a society of clubs.
So Nene, hold on. I get your point. Your point basically is that you do not think that they worked hard enough to secure the party the victory you are enjoying right now, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. So you do not think that such a person should be made, given any position. Now, the question I put to you is that who are the people you think are better off filling that position?
We have presented a CV. We have presented CV to the appropriate quarters, and they have to scrutinize their CV. Everybody has written something in it, but that particular gentleman that we are telling the whole world that is not the loyalty and the commitment is questionable. Is what we are talking about for now.
Well, if you're saying the person is not good enough, you've got alternative. We've got to know the alternatives you're presenting.
Yes, the alternative that we are presenting. That's why I'm saying. All boys on the Jubilee House or the minister have to come out and check their CV.
Who are you putting forward to fill that position?
Yes, we have members around. They can check their CVs. Those who are qualified, we know. Okay. They know. We have been talking to each other, and they know that.
Have you got some names?
For now, the names that they presented through our constituency. I know more, about 14 days. And Tema Central has also sent, Tema East, Tema West have also sent some. But we are saying that from Tema East, we are talking about Tema East. Tema East, the name that is sent, that gentleman, the loyalty and commitment is questionable.
Okay. Have you spoken to the national executive about what you're doing right now? I mean, have you told them your concerns about the person? That is why we organized the press conference for them to see that what is happening. We are not happy. This thing even started when we are doing the government appointee. Honorable Ishmael have to impose somebody on us, somebody who didn't work. Likewise, the same person. Are we saying that we want our chronic
to enjoy in the detriment of the people who work for the party.
My question, Nene, my question was whether or not you've been able to communicate your concern to the executive before you decided to hold a press conference.
Yeah, that's why I said we went to the regional chairman. Okay. We went to him, myself and the MP. We went to him,
okay,
and we told him that what is going on, we don't like it.
Okay.
He told us that he has a tough card. It's not the best. We cannot sit down at the party. People will work. Then next time everybody will sit down idle. They will not work. Then when it comes to sharing of what you call position, people will go and lobby, and we cannot do that.
Okay.
People have worked. People have shown loyalty.
Okay, but have you, just before I let you go, Nene, I'm going to have to let you go now because that's all time will allow us. But before that, have you heard the response that the National Executive has for you?
Nobody have called me.
Okay, well, they've held a press conference and they've spoken to the matter. What they're saying is that they will not allow for blackmails because they believe, it appears that what you're doing is one of those. Have you heard?
That's the blackmailing. Hello, I can't hear you well.
Yes.
Hello.
They said they will not be blackmailed by supporters in the appointment of MMDCEs. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard anything from that. But we are telling the whole world that this is what is happening at our constituency.
All right.
This is what is happening at our constituency. So the whole world will have to hear.
Okay. Thank you very much. Nene Ofwe is the one who addressed the press conference today. But like I said, the NPP has been responding to this particular matter. The National Executive of the NPP have been responding to this matter. And what they're saying is that they will not be blackmailed by supporters in the appointment of the MMDCEs. That is the bold statement coming from the governing NPP following this agitation, which we've spoken to right now by party supporters on the process so far. Well, they've been addressing a news conference here in Accra. The acting general secretary of the party, John Boakye, said that the process initiated by the party was meant to assist the president make a choice and not to impose one on him. Joining us is Joseph Accompli was at the press conference, and he will be joining me in the studio right after we listen to what John Boakye had to say.
The process is just the same as the government appointees that we did. As part of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's rounds throughout the country, both internal elections and the general elections, he did tell his constituency people that in appointing MMDCEs before the actual elections will be done, he will consult them in doing so. But one must also recognize it is in his right to do so. He will consult them, he will consult chiefs around, he will consult clergy, he will consult Malams, Islam, Muslims, and all that. And that is the process that we started. If you remember, about a week ago, I sent out, about 2 weeks, a directive that people who want to be MMDCEs in the various municipal assemblies should apply to the constituencies, and that has been done. Few shortlisting were done. For some time, they were also to report to the region, and that was also done. The region had duly submitted all applications to National Party. We've sat down to go through. There were some regions and some constituencies that some few shortlisting were done. In some cases, 19 people applied. In some cases, 20 people applied. For us sitting here, it will be difficult to be able to go through these 19 people and take a decision. So we allow the various constituencies and the regions to do some shuffling. And that has been done. That is causing some few consternations on the ground. But that's how it is. It's about making sure that you get the best for the party. We've received that. We received reports of some people who, to them, they've been unjustifiably delisted from the shortlist. We've given room for some of them, particularly parliamentary candidates who contested, to petition the General Secretary, that's the National Secretariat, if we feel that the applications are justified, their petition.
Speaking about the applications that they have received, as John Wedu for the NPP, my colleague Joseph Accompli, who followed that press conference, is in the studio with me. He can help us with some answers, like I say, that our cameras weren't able to capture. Joseph, it's good to see you. How was your weekend?
It was a good one.
Okay, I can see that smile tells it all. Let's talk about the NPP and how they responded quickly to this issue. Well, some will argue that it's not as swift because there have been similar issues last week as well. But this Greater Accra, I mean, if you listen to the conversation I had with those who just, in Tema East, those who just organized that press conference in Tema East, you would consider this as a very swift response from the NPP. Do we have any information as to why they decided to hold a press conference at the back of this?
I mean, clearly the indication I get from the press conference is the fact that the party is worried about how some of the things are panning out, and especially against the backdrop that they are yet to name individuals as the MMDCEs. This case in point you are talking about, Tema East, is just a case of shortlisting. You go elsewhere, you have as many as 20 people, in some cases 19 people, who have put forward applications. Now what is being done is that the party at the constituency level is pruning down that number to maybe 10 or 5. So it's just the shortlisting that has led people to agitate, and that is why the party is worried that if even a shortlisting is getting people to want to agitate, then why not address the issue now? Because in the long run, we'll be settling on one person to take over that position. And if at this point you're not able to control it, then in the long run, when you name someone, it may be a bit difficult to curtail it. So that is why they decided to address the press conference at this point.
Okay, and at this press conference, we understand he talks about a process. He said they've received some petitions. What more does he say about the process itself?
So first, if you are interested, you want to be an MMDC, you have to send application to your constituency level.
Okay.
Now, once they receive it, if there are too many people, they prune down the number. Then again, the point he makes is that within the constituency, they allow for persons to send petitions. So a petition, you send it into the national level saying that this person has put in an application, but you're not comfortable with that person. And you need to give reasons why you're not comfortable with that person. Okay. Now that is brought in, they sit down with you and they engage you. But the other point he's making essentially is that all this process is meant to assist the president. It's not meant to decide for him. Right. Because the president can sit in Accra and decide that, okay, maybe this district, because of this factory we want to set up there, I want someone who is business oriented to take over. So it's for that reason that he's saying that even though they are consulting, they should note that they are not going to decide for the president who occupies that position. So that's why he made that point about not being blackmailed. We can hear John Boyd on that.
Okay, right.
We've made some commitments. We've made some promises in our manifesto. A promise to make sure that each and every district we are able to construct or have a factory in each and every district. We've made that commitment. We expect that we will have an MMDCEs who are capable of attracting investment, who understand what it takes to establish an industry in a particular district. We've made commitment, especially in the north, that each and every village will have a dam. We want MMDCEs that understands this issue. We've made commitment to the extent that in 1.5 years, we are going to throw up all these positions for elections. We want people who are capable of managing the MMDCE, said that by the time we go for elections, it will not be difficult for the New Patriotic Party or difficult for people that will sponsor. It is the combinations of these decisions that goes into the appointment. It is not just about just working for the party. No, it is not just about that. And again, we've made commitments that appointment by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will involve a lot of women. So if there are no women involved, we will headhunt some of them to make sure that we satisfy the broad majority of our population, which are women. So these are the conditions, and I think that you bear with us. If there is any problem that anybody raises, our doors are open. We are ready to listen to it. I don't have interest in a particular district or particular municipality. My interest is the New Patriotic Party, and that is all. And that one, if we take the decision, it is a decision that has been taken by the party, and we are going to defend. We are not going to allow ourselves to be blackmailed by annoyance and demonstration. We are not going to allow that. We will make sure that everything that is done in the interest of the party, and party people must understand that this is the position and this is what has been. Yes, you can have one constituency or a region who or officers who pass comments that may not inure to the general understanding of a lot of people. That can happen. But the decision maker in this exercise is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So,
okay, John Boyd there again. So he basically makes the point that you said that this is not supposed to dictate or decide for the president what to do, but it's supposed to help him.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because at the end of the day, if you put my name up and I get rejected, that's another issue for the party to resolve.
Obviously, but the explanation he gives is that it's very difficult for the president to sit in Accra and identify across the country who to appoint.
Right.
So that is why, first and foremost, they decided to open it up and let the party handle it. So you bring the names to the president. Now he says after all this, the president looks out for whether in terms of the total numbers, it reflects gender balance, whether the competency of those names that have come up is one that the president himself can vouch for. So even though that is being done to assist the president, he again, because he is the appointing authority,
right,
and we want to make his work easier, but that doesn't mean we are taking over his work with a party structure. So that is why he explains that.
Well, in that case, the party structure shouldn't be there in the first place.
That is the explanation he gives, that the difficulty with the president sitting in Flagstaff and identifying maybe in the Upper East region, he may not necessarily know them, because for the ministers it's easier for him to identify those he knows personally and appoint them. But for the district level, it's very difficult, and there are some constituencies that he may even not know anyone there. Again, he says that the party structure that they are even using has its own deficiency, in the sense that there are some places where they've not even received a female nomination coming up. And they have also made promises that in their appointment they'll be looking out for gender balance. So in such a case, it means that the president may have to come in and decide that even though this particular district, no female has come up, we need to appoint someone to occupy that position. Okay. So all those things will be taken into consideration.
Have they spoken about how they are educating the party faithful on this dynamics, or on the whole dynamics of, you know, appointing you or shortlisting you and sending it to the presidency, so they would decide whether or not you're fit for it? Because if they do not educate the people, then they wouldn't understand the process. Did they speak to it? Or do they have plans to do it?
In fact, some engagements are already ongoing. And when, at the time I was leaving their headquarters, right after the press conference, he was meeting different persons from different districts across the country. So they come with different complaints, they meet with them, they explain with them. That's why they again say that if you have some complaints, you should send it via petition to the party, come over and let them discuss that.
Okay. Any more actions that they're about to take, the party? Did they communicate
It appears
that?
they are bent on still relying on the process they're already using. That is the consultation one, and send their names to the president, hoping that helps them, the president, to appoint someone for their position.
Okay, well, they better find something for those who are rejected, because they won't take that lightly at all. Thank you very much. Joseph Accompli has been following the NPP press conference that responds to some agitation from party faithful over the choice of MMDCE. So we've been trying to reach the local government institute for some reaction from them. We're unable to do that at the moment. But let's move on to some other stories, talking about free SHS. Now, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools schools have begun gathering data from various senior high schools across the Ashanti region, a move towards the implementation of the government's free SHS promise. The data being collected is mainly on fees charged by the various senior high schools. Now, the region's Joint News' correspondent, Erastus Asaredonko, has been visiting some schools in the and he joins us now via Skype with some details. Hello, Erastus. Okay, we don't have Erastus on Skype right now, but he can hear me on the telephone. Erastus, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
Fantastic. What can you tell us from the visits that you pay to the schools?
Well, I've visited several schools in the Kumasi metropolis, and the information I get on the ground is that there was a vigorous demand for data on how much is charged each student, whether day or boarding, at the free SHS level. And that data is being compiled by the Ghana Education Service and the Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools. Now, they are submitting that information to government to influence government's negotiation or federal consultation between the CHAS and the other stakeholders on how much government will absorb and how much will be borne by the parents. And so now it's not clear. What the headmasters are saying is that they prefer that government will take everything, but then it's not clear whether government will absorb all the fees or will lease out part of it to be borne by the parents. Now, let me go through the approved fees.
Now, Erastus, before you go through the approved fees, you say that they are putting the data together so they will determine how much government of Ghana will pay and how much parents will pay?
Well, I'm being told that they were asked by government to submit data.
Because over the weekend, the president spoke about this matter, and he was very emphatic that free means free, and he mentions all the things that are supposed to be free, including meals, including laboratory fees, science examination fees, etc. Are they not aware?
Let me take you through this analysis.
Okay.
In fact, one headmaster, for instance, told me that if you talk about examination fees, we have internal examination fees, which is charged each student.
Okay.
And then we have the final examination, which is the WAEC exam.
Okay.
That one is also charged the student. So if you say you're taking away examination fees, which one are you absorbing and which one are you leaving?
I see.
Are you taking both, or you're taking one and leaving the other?
All right.
There are other fees as well. We have the absorbed fees by government, which is 58 cedis. It contains examination fees, entertainment, library, SRC dues, sports fees, and others. That amounts to 58 cedis. Now, when you come to general fees, we have feeding fee, which is 4 cedis, 80 pesos per day for each student. When you combine that, we are having 462 cedis. Now we have uniforms, clothing, books. That one amounts to about 410 Ghana cedis. PTA levy. When you combine all that, we are talking about 1,032.20 Ghana cedis for boarding students and 597 cedis 0.20 for day students. And so they are looking at the categories of fees. Is government taking all of that, or government is absorbing part of it? That is what is not so clear to the headmasters and parents who are so expectant of this policy to take hold.
But if they are doing a gathering of data at this point, I mean, we know that the president or the NPP government, NPP administration promised free education or free SHS. Wouldn't they have started doing this a long time ago? Why are they doing it? And why is the conference of heads of assisted schools doing this
Well, your
now?
guess is as good as mine, but that is what I gathered from all the schools I went to. And in fact, none of the headmasters is willing to come out boldly on record on these things. But they are saying they are happy about the policy. They expect that government will absorb all the fees. But then still they want to be sure. They want to get a confirmation from government in the coming days as to whether it is totally free or government is absorbing part of it and leasing part of it for parents to pay. Surprisingly, some parents we have spoken to, and we'll be showing that footage later, they are telling us that they will not mind if government will take part of it, lessen the burden a bit for them, and they will also support government in that regard. And so already parents are looking for a lease on their burden,
Not
but
necessarily
then they also expect that government to foot part of it.
So the parents are not necessarily looking for freebies. They're actually saying that if you can't give it to us for free and you can, take a bit of it, then we're fine. That's what they're saying in the Ashanti region.
Exactly. That's what some of the parents are saying. There are others who are also expecting that, hey, if he goes all out and take all the fees, we are happy people.
Free. The people who believe that free means free.
Exactly. They want to know whether free means free or free means a percentage.
Before I let you go, Erastus, let me find out from you whether or not the CHAS, talking about the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, have any instructions. Do we know whether or not this move has got to do with any instructions that they may have received from Accra?
No, they are saying that they were told by the Ghana Education Service to furnish them with data on how much they are charging each student. All the fees they charge at the various senior high school levels, and they are compiling that for an appraisal by government, because government wants to know what it looks like financially.
Okay, thank you very much, Erastus. We're expecting some videos from the Ashanti region, like Erastus has said. Erastus, sorry, Donko is Ashanti regional correspondent there with information on what's happening there. Well, if you've been following this particular story, over the weekend, President Akufo-Addo has been speaking. He was at the 60th anniversary celebration of Boakye School, and he explained exactly which fees he intends to waive. Actually, he explains what the program that he intends to roll, which he intends to commence, according to him, in the 2017-2018 academic year really means. Here's what he said.
The government of Ghana will fund the cost of public senior high schools for all those who qualify for entry from the 2017-2018 academic year onwards. Free SHS would mean that in addition to tuition, which is already free, there will be no admission fees, no library fees, no science center fees, no computer lab fees, no examination fees, no utility fees. There will be free textbooks, free boarding, and free meals. Free SHS will also cover agricultural, vocational, and technical institutions.
Well, if you don't understand that, perhaps some of us see it as free is free. This is The Pulse. My name is Gifty Andopia.